Chicago? What do you say? Cubs gonna win today.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise Podcast. We're going to talk about the Cubs with Praz and Oleg. Guys, how are you? Oleg, do you have any bones to pick with anybody?
I've got all sorts of bones to pick with you, Andy.
Well, pick away.
Might as well.
For the record, I have zero bones to pick with anyone.
Yeah,
I'm a very happy man these days.
I made sure you got credit today in the newsletter for a nickname you never got to use.
Praz or me?
Praz. Talked about the Run Mary, and I even gave the backstory about Felix Heredia. So the people could see what they missed.
The Run Jerry is what I called him.
Oh.
Because of the whole thing with Boog calling him Jerry.
Yeah. I wrote about that, too, about how, thank God, we never have to hear that story again.
Yes.
I'm surprised Boog didn't tell it on the way out. I never tell you the story, but I got his nickname. Yeah, nobody calls him that, Boog. That's fine.
He was
so the one bone, the first one is with this whole Michael Busch, Pete Crow hitting next to each other.
Okay.
In the lineup. And that's that Counsell never lets Busch hits lefties anyway. So as soon as a lefty would come in, he'd be pinch hitting for Busch no matter what. No matter who's hitting before or after him.
Okay.
So that's the first bone.
It still doesn't seem like a good reason why it would be fine to let him back to back.
It doesn't matter.
I'm with Andy on this, because if you have him hitting back to back and then you bring a lefty in, then you're prompting Craig to pinch hit Justin Turner now.
Yeah, you're incentivizing more Justin Turner at bats.
But that would happen anyway. Like a lefty coming in to face Busch would happen anyway. He would pinch hit for him anyway. It doesn't matter. But that's irrelevant. I couldn't.
It does matter. You don't want to make it easy for the other man. You're still rewarding the other manager for doing that, because you bring him in. What if it's 2 outs? He gets Pete out, and you're like, well, might as well leave him in because they're going to go to Justin Turner next inning. We'll let this guy, because you could have taken the lefty out and put a righty in to face the righty who would be in there. Okay, so I have fought off your initial.
The other one is this. This is the big one that I have. The Cubs have more than 2 offensive stars, and in fact, the guy who's their third offensive star is their second best hitter.
The third offensive star is
not besides Pete Crow Armstrong.
Pete, you got your 3 stars: Pete Crow, Kyle Tucker, and Ian Happ.
Reese McGuire.
Okay. Well,
it's obviously Seiya.
He is leading the league in strikeouts. So congratulations.
Yeah, but he's also a better hitter than Pete Crow.
Seiya is?
He walks. Yes. He's got a higher WRC plus. He has a higher OBP. He's got a higher slugging percentage. His batting average is barely lower than Pete Crow Armstrong.
You're not going to get me to argue that Seiya's not a good player. However, they literally changed the team so he would only have to play half the game.
Yes.
You're comparing.
Hold on. Hang on. I didn't say he was a better player. I said he was a better hitter. Did I say he was a better hitter?
I know, but we're talking about stars. Part of what makes Pete a star is that he's the best defensive player in the game. Plus, he has a great offensive. He's turned into a really good offensive player.
I'm not suggesting.
I'm not going to argue that Seiya's. I would agree with you that Seiya is a better hitter right now than Pete.
Yeah.
But he's not. I don't think he's a star.
He is. Is Kyle Schwarber a star?
Well, when we have the All-Star game, yes, he is. And when we have the All-Star game and Kyle and Shohei are the DHs and Seiya is watching it from the couch. I wrote about it today. You guys should actually read the free newsletters that you get. Oh, you pay for yours. You really should read it.
Yeah, you really should read it. Get that value. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it, but chances are you're not going to take 3 DHs. And it's going to be Shohei and Kyle. Poor Seiya. Could be. He's leading all of baseball, and he just added another one in RBI. I believe he now joins. Oh no, he didn't do it. I thought I saw the stat that Andre Dawson and Hack Wilson were the
I was just going to
other
say Hack
Cubs who
Wilson for the
50 RBIs in the first 50 games of the season.
Jeez.
Took Seiya
Not
to like.
Sammy
It's his.
in Sammy in 01 when he had like.
I didn't hear the whole
160?
stat. I know that Hawk did it because
Okay.
he showed him.
Okay,
So there could be more. It could be Sammy.
gotcha.
It should. Why not? Let's say Sammy twice. 98 and 01.
Man, Seiya's barely not as good as Schwarber. His numbers are barely not as good as Schwarber's.
Well, he still got a month.
Yeah. It'd be sad if Seiya doesn't make the All-Star games. I will be very sad.
Yeah.
Maybe they would bring him because they can play him. Unlike the other two, they can actually play him in the outfield.
Right.
There you go. I mean, have you seen him in left field? He's the best left fielder on the Cubs. Honestly.
He is. He absolutely is. In fact,
Dude.
I joked, but I didn't joke that Happ's the fourth best defensive outfielder on his own team
Mm-hmm.
because I think he is.
Seiya can't do that, though. He can't beat out. He wouldn't be able to beat out that ground ball. That ground strike. Anyway, my point being that Seiya Suzuki is a star, and I will accept no arguments to the contrary.
I'll take it. I like Seiya a lot. He's one of my favorite
Yeah.
players. I'm wearing I have a sweatshirt because it's cold down here, but I have a Seiya Suzuki jersey where his last name is in kanji, not even in
Nice.
English characters.
Oh, wow.
So there. Don't give me.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
going to besmirch Seiya.
Yeah. So that was the other bone that I had to
I
pick.
thought you were going to
That's
say the other star was Carson Kelly.
Yeah, well, he's come back down to earth a little bit too. I think on the 2 weeks ago,
Well-
I said that I'm good with Abaya getting the majority of the starts.
I mean, when you're out at Sluggers till 3 a.m, as Carson Kelly has been the last few nights, as he's been out with an illness. I mean, can you really be a star?
Man, it really sucks to not have Dan Bernstein around to tell us these things.
Yes.
Did Dan Bernstein just hang out at Sluggers waiting for players to show
No,
up?
he's the
He
one
just-
who said something about Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant.
Like, the first time he ever got pulled from
Bryant
the
had
game.
a very similar thing where he was sick and he kept missing games, and Dan was basically accusing him of being spending too much time at the bars and he was hungover. And Chris famously doesn't drink, so it was kind of hard to make
Yep.
that.
Exactly.
Carson looks like a guy who drinks.
Going down. Reese is the guy who looks like he could probably put down a 12-pack.
Frank Forklift made a joke that I wondered if I didn't look at his baseball reference page. He didn't have. Shouldn't Reese McGuire's nickname be the Carjacker? Shouldn't that be his nickname?
That would be very fitting. Yes. Oh, man.
I mentioned that more than once this weekend to various
Yep.
friends.
I tweeted it out after Sunday that when they get back to Chicago, that he should get to have his own personal parking lot to do whatever he wants in.
I will say, all things considered, that's the least bad thing that,
It's not so much that it's why did you do it?
I
Even
don't
the
know.
cop. If you watch I found the TMZ got the arrest video, and the cop is like, "Where do you live?" And he's like, "Well, that's not very far. Do you have a roommate?" Well, yeah, but that's not why I did this. Well, why? It's like, basically the cop is like, "Dude, just go into the bathroom in your own apartment. Why are you here? Why did you do this?" And he's like, "I'm an idiot." Like, yes, we
Yeah.
know you're an idiot. Why?
It's probably you
Why
know
are
what?
you doing this? It's more so. I'm not like morally offended,
Right.
but it's just like, what the? Why would you do that? That's the
Even P. Revenge was at a porn theater, right?
yeah.
Yes. God.
I mean, what the hell?
Man.
At least he didn't do it in front of female comedians, right?
Oh, is that
I wish it was
Louis
that.
C.K.?
Louis
Yeah.
C.K. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all things considered, I don't give a shit that he did it, but yeah, it's kind of just dumb. Oh well.
I have so many questions. I'd love to interview him someday. Like, okay, who saw you? How long did it take the cop to respond? Were you still pants around? You know, like
That's
say
a good point.
so. If the cop shows up and you're just sitting there, you're done, you're all zipped up.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They don't have
Right.
any proof you did it.
Right.
You're like, what? No, that's ridiculous. Oh my god. You know, I am offended that you would even insinuate that. So he had to have still been like,
Hats around ankles.
or was he hammered? I mean, he didn't get like a DUI, and I guess if the keys are in the car, even if you're not, you can get a DUI in a parking lot.
Right.
But he didn't get arrested for that. It's just there's so many questions.
Maybe he was having a cigarette.
Yeah, that's right. He's just getting ready for round 2.
Cop knocks on the door. He's like,
just like he did over the weekend in Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly.
He managed to jack it twice and beat the Reds.
Yes. What was it? The second inning and the 8th inning. So 5 innings is a perfect.
Yeah, you made the
refractory
period joke. Yeah, that was good. I like that. I did think he got a little carried away when you were offering to buy him sex toys, though. That was maybe a step.
Listen, I just wanted to be as generous to him as you were.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy being brought into it. It's like, Andy bought Jimmy Anderson a pizza once. I'm going to buy Reese McGuire a fleshlight. How is that? I don't think those are. I don't think that equates. I mean, I don't know what Jimmy did with the pizza. Maybe that's what he did with it. I don't know. It was for it was for what he could use it however he wanted. Whatever hotel that was in Houston. I remember that was a whole thing. I had to find out where they were, and I ended up having to order. It was Domino's. This was 2000 what? 4? 4.
Oh, 4. Okay. Yeah.
Find a way you could order a pizza online in another city. I didn't have a lot of options, but I had said I was going to do it, and then he stayed in. He got a 3-inning save, and so I ordered him the pizza. I never got a thank you from him or anything.
Did you make it up from you? Like had them write down in the box or something with your email address? Or
I think I put from your friends at Decipio.com. So he could have found me.
Yeah.
I think.
He stumbles into the message board and you just say, "Shut up, Paul. You're a douche."
Maybe it was.
He leaves right away.
I'm going to pretend I'm from Hobart. That's a funny sounding town.
Although I feel like that didn't happen until years later. Good times. Anyway, I'll start my Seiya Suzuki for the All-Star Game campaign.
Punch Seiya. We need him to get punched by somebody, and then we'll get him in.
He's just
I don't even know how. There's so many guys get picked now. The rosters are huge.
That's true.
Some guys can't go.
Right. There's always going to be some kind of.
I have a hunch he'll end up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
I want to say wasn't it last year that I think Luis Arias, after getting traded to the Padres, still made it as an All-Star at second base, even though he mostly played first base with the Padres from the time he got traded. So there's probably still a way that you could have him listed as an outfielder and get him in there.
Did they make Luis wear Jeff Samardzij's uniform from the?
Well, he didn't switch leagues, but yeah, that was a pretty funny moment from 2014.
2014, yeah.
Yeah. I think wasn't he not eligible to play in that game?
Yeah, he couldn't play. There's those, you have to follow those stupid rules. Right?
I know.
The commissioner couldn't have gone, yeah, you can play for you're an A now. You can play for the American League. We'll add a guy on. This doesn't happen. We'll just do it. We've got these rules. He's not going to be allowed to play. What the hell? The NBA would have found a way. They brought Craig Hodges back when he didn't have a team. He got to wear the generic NBA jersey from the 3-point contest to defend his. I believe he'd won it 3 years in a row. So they brought him back.
That was just a 3-point contest.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the sanctity of the All-Star game. It doesn't count for anything.
Yeah. Well, I've been throwing it out there lately, and it kind of hurts the case for it now that Miguel Amaya is on the injured list. This hasn't happened often. The last time it has was 2022. Would there have been a possibility of getting one, possibly two catchers to the All-Star game for the Cubs? I probably would lean towards no on two, but I think on one.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. So Wilson made it in 22. I thought you had dug up a nugget where some team, both catchers, had gone to the All-Star game.
Yes, no, they did. In 2022, the Braves, they sent both.
Okay.
Do you remember the big hype with Wilson Contreras in that All-Star game? Was that it was the first time him and a pair of brothers
so it was
made it.
William Contreras and Travis d'Arnaud. Is that who made
Travis d'Arnaud made it with him.
God, why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why did that happen?
Huh.
I don't know.
Huh. Interesting. When did it has it happened? Like other times? Because catchers used to play a lot
sometime
of
like
in most of the 80s, Jody Davis and Steve Lake made the All-Star team.
There you go. Yes,
that happened a lot.
Was it? Didn't the Cardinals at one time have Ted Simmons, Darrell Porter?
Didn't they trade Ted for Darrell?
Oh, is that right?
Or did they just change? Did they just swap teams? Oh, now I got to find out.
The Cardinals were traded for the Arizona Wranglers.
Yep. Get down here, we can tell that story again. Talk about George Allen. George Allen kept all the chalk.
That's fine.
He didn't leave any fucking chalk here. No, he took it.
Took the whiteboards or the chalkboards.
Let's see. So in December of 1980, Ted got traded with Raleigh Fingers and Pete Vukovich from the Cardinals to the Brewers for David Green, Dave LaPointe, Sixto Lescano, of course, is Antonio Alfonseca's cousin, and Larry Sorensen.
Okay.
That doesn't explain then how Darrell Porter got to.
Because Darrell Porter went from the Royals to the Cardinals, right? With Whitey Herzog.
Let's see. Darrell. Really good. Oh, he just signed as a free agent.
Oh, okay.
Days before the trade, though.
Oh, so there you go.
Oh, wow.
Ted's like, what the fuck, man? I gotta split time with this goggle-eyed dope. Nope. We're trading you to the Brewers. Fuck off.
Didn't Darrell Porter have a drinking thing?
Yes, he did. And Ted, I think, right?
Oh, really?
I
would.
So
he played with Paul Molitor. I mean,
Ted's a Hall of Famer now. Ted Simmons finally got in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Well, hey, that makes Reese McGuire look like a saint in comparison to those.
So
guys.
Darrell had been a Brewer until 1976 when he got traded to the Royals.
Oh.
He got traded for former Cub manager Jamie Quirk.
Oh.
Quirk was who's bench coach, and then he was the. Remember, so Jamie Quirk's like finest moment as a Cub was, I guess it had to be Dale, right? Dale gets thrown out of a game, and Jamie Quirk is the guy who came out and took Kerry Wood out of his final game as a Cub because he was the acting manager because Dale had gotten tossed.
That's interesting.
I don't know that Jamie ever actually managed a game for the Cubs, but he was serving as he was filling out the game.
He was as much of a manager as Ernie Banks was that one time.
Poor Ernie.
Yeah.
The Cubs made a lineup change today. They have.
Thanks to you.
I just told him to stop batting Pete leadoff.
Well, that was going to happen when Ian came back, no matter what.
But yeah, Pete is now the cleanup hitter for the Cubs, and Michael Tucker, who hasn't hit a home run since I don't know, like May 2nd or whatever.
Who's this Michael Tucker? You keep
Michael
bringing
Tucker,
up?
Michael Busch. God damn it! Can't they all have completely different names? Do we have to share parts of names?
Yes.
Although Daniel Palencia and Jeremiah Estrada don't share a name, and I still get those two confused. I don't understand that either.
You did it a couple times on the podcast. It was like I'm
Well,
walking the dog.
I made
and
it
I'm
easy for
cracking up.
myself. They're both on my fantasy team now, so
Yeah.
they're teammates
there you
again. Just like with the Iowa Cubs a couple years ago, they're teammates again, and they're very happy. Anyway, Michael Busch,
Yeah. This was the thing, because you started doing
not
that.
former Cub Michael Tucker. Michael Busch is now hitting 6th. So the guy who's leading off for the Cubs every day is Ian Happ.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
He is. Let's not count Reese McGuire because he's only been there for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Where on the team do you think Ian Happ ranks in OPS plus?
Oof.
Well, I know he's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark very much, so he's slugging probably below 400. I'm going to guess 7.
Praz, you got to guess?
That's a good guess. I'll go one higher and be a little generous. I'll say 6.
It's 9th. He is the 9th.
Yikes.
Yeah. He's barely league average. He has a 101 OPS plus.
Okay.
Matt Shaw with his Happ got a hit too, right? Tonight.
He got a hit tonight.
So
Yep.
they're probably Shaw is gaining ground though because there's so few at bats. Shaw was back up to a 91 before the game started. So Happ is quickly on his way to 10th, but he's getting the most at bats of any Cub. So
yeah. Well, he's getting on base a lot. Like he's not right.
His on base average is 347.
Oh, slower than I thought. All right.
But it's 4th highest on the Cubs because the Cubs, for all the runs they score, they're not so good at that. And he's slugging 349.
Yeah.
He's on pace to hit 9 homers this year.
If it wasn't, hey, he takes a walk. Otherwise, it'd be very Juan Pierre.
Juan Pierre.
Yeah. Juan Pierre Ian.
Like Juan Pierre.
Juan Pierre Ian.
Juan Pierre.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, let's print the shirts now before Obvious Shirts does.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, so and it's our short-term solution when Happ was out as to who should lead off, so you could bat Pete in the middle of the lineup is Nico, but his on base is only 336.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole team, but I also
Happ is in the right spot. He needs to hit a little more because all he's doing is getting on base at a somewhat acceptable rate. He's not doing anything else.
What's the league average OBP?
The Cub team average is 336.
Yes.
A lot of that coming from
the league average OBP looks like it's about 320?
316. I got it up now.
316. Okay.
Yep.
So the Cubs are still better than that. Can you look up what it was in 2016? I don't know why my AI is not working.
1 second.
Your AI is not working?
Yeah, I'm sure it's working. 2016, 320.
Okay. 343.
Oh, 343?
343. 2016 Cubs
Google.
Team on base.
That was the Cubs team on base that year.
No, that was the Cubs. No, the league average on base.
Oh,
league average, that was 322.
322, okay.
So similar spread.
Yeah. So the Cubs, because I saw somebody put up a graphic comparing the 2016 Cubs to this year's Cubs. And this year's Cubs were kind of better overall, except the on-base percentage was about 20 points low.
Yeah, well, this is the first time the Cubs have been 12 over in May since 2016.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They're a good team.
I do worry a little bit about their pitching.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they haven't been going deep into games.
Nobody does. I think that's okay.
I think what I'm most worried about is that I don't know. Everybody's like, well, they'll just trade. And I'm one of them. Like, well, trade for a pitcher. We'll get one.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to need one. And who the hell is they're going to be to get?
I started talking about that with some buddies this weekend, and like you look at the teams who are definitely out of it already, and I don't know who they have to trade. Like you don't, is Sandy Alcantara worth trading for right now?
Yeah, I mean he's been terrible.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
You'd be trading for him with the expectation that you're somehow going to fix him in season,
Right.
or just playing on a good team is obviously going to make him better.
Right.
But because there's so few arms, you're gonna still pay a premium for what is basically a coin flip,
Below average. Yeah.
a lottery ticket.
Because sure shit, the Rockies and the White Sox don't really have anyone.
No,
Maybe
the White Sox
have
had last year. They had two great pitchers to trade: Garrett Crotchet, and Eric Fetty, and only traded one. I was thinking, when the Cardinals inevitably fall back to earth, they're going to have two guys to trade, and who's going to want? And not like they trade with the Cubs anyway. But what is Miles Michaelis or Eric Fetty really going to do for you?
Right. The only hope there is maybe Sonny Gray wants to waive his no trade and force his way out to get to Chicago or something.
So I have a theory as to why there's no starting pitching depth to trade for, as to whose fault this is. It's the Dodgers' fault because they have acquired all of it the last 2 years, and they broke it all.
Yeah.
And so the surplus of pitching in baseball is on the Dodgers injured list.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to trade for because they already got everybody.
And that was kind of the plan.
There's going to be a logjam for them once Shohei gets back to throwing, though. One of those guys might be available.
Yeah, I mean, they'll trade. I don't know what else they'll need. Maybe another reliever or something. Maybe they'll trade Tony Gonsolin for somebody, but is that a needle mover?
Well, I mean, last year they made a pretty big trade to get a utility player who they knew they could turn into a really good player in Tommy Edman. I'm thinking probably Vidal Brujan is this year's Tommy Edman.
There you go.
Maybe back up the truck. Jed, we'll do it. We'll pay whatever it takes to get Vidal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The Dodgers are like, but you have to pay his airfare, and the Ricketts are out.
Like, what? No, that's a deal breaker.
No.
Fucking Cardinals are going to win again, aren't they?
I've got a question for you guys. Do you think? I will ask it in two parts. A, do you think Jed Hoyer gets a contract extension before the trade deadline? Or B, do you think he's already gotten it and the Cubs won't tell us because Chicago sports teams are so fucking weird about their... And this is George McCaskey's fault. George asks like morally offended when people ask if the general manager of the Bears has what his contract status is. Oh, we don't talk about that. Why? Because you're always embarrassed that you've extended these bozos? Why is it not like public knowledge?
Yeah. You would think on like Spotrac or whatever sites are out there that list.
Well, usually when it comes out because the agent leaks it because the agent wants other either coaches or executives to know you got that, look what the deal I got for this loser. Imagine what I could do for you. Like that's literally how we knew what Ben Johnson's contract was. His agent told everybody immediately. It's like, we got 5 years, $13 million. You're running around and the Caskies are like, why are you telling people that? It's like, well, because it's not a fucking secret.
Right.
Yeah. It's a contract. He signed it. It's true. We're going to tell people.
I was literally just talking about this on the previous podcast I did, Bums in the Bleachers, Chicago Sports Bums. I said that I think Jed, if he doesn't have one already, probably will get one. I would venture to guess around the All-Star break.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's a shame, but I think that's pretty true. I think what he's done this year, and then they'll just go back to being mediocre next year.
Wouldn't it be funny if he doesn't have one by the All-Star break or by the trade deadline? He just gets pissed and he just starts selling guys off.
He puts on.
I'm going now.
He goes.
You don't sign me. I'm
trading Theo's gorilla suit from Boston.
I traded Kyle Tucker for Nicky Lopez, and Nicky doesn't even have a team.
Oh man.
I have a hunch he already has one.
I do too.
More than likely. I mean, Ricketts seems to like him even before
Well,
this
what's
year
not to
when they went
like
out.
if you're Tom? I mean, he stays within his budget. Oh, they did creep over a little bit last year, but that actually worked. The Ricketts enjoyed that because it gave. Are you a barista, Oleg? Are you
Sorry about that.
going over by just a little bit last year gave them an excuse, a bad excuse, but an excuse why they can't go over this year. So it worked out great. Of course he likes Jed. So my other Jed question is, I'm as guilty of this as anybody. Why? Okay, so we are told, right, that Tommy Hottovy is like a really good pitching coach, right? Like the Cubs tell us that. People tell us that all the time, right?
Right.
The last 2 years, and you could see it happening again this year, hopefully it doesn't, the team has been sabotaged by a shitty bullpen.
Yep.
Why does the general manager get blamed for the bullpen and not the pitching coach? And I'm not saying Jed doesn't deserve blame, but why doesn't ever seem to touch him at all when 8 of the 13 pitchers on his staff suck? It's like, well, no, the bullpen. They got to get better bullpen guys because, it's not Tommy's fault. Well, why isn't it as much his fault as anybody else? Isn't he supposed to be coaching the pitchers?
Right. To me, the guy that has seemed to gotten like a lot more credit these days has been that guy Tyler Zombro, like whoever the like, pitching development guy is for the Cubs. I mean, Tommy Hottovy, like, I don't know, I had a weird feeling about him when like the Cubs first made him pitching coach when Joe was still here, but like, at this point now, seeing that he's made it through 3 different managers that all find him to be an adequate option at pitching coach, like,
well,
the results are what
or are they
but-
told? Or are they
true.
told?
Are
that's
they
your
told?
pitching coach?
Right.
It's not the first time the Cubs have done this. Larry Rothschild worked for 4 managers. He came with Don Baylor.
Baylor?
He stayed through Dusty. He survived the Dusty thing. He worked for Lou, and then he worked for Mike Quaddy for the last part of that season before he took off for the Yankees. The difference is, I think Larry it seemed like he probably was a good pitching coach. But how many the Cubs have only had 3 pitching coaches since 2000. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You went from Larry to Basio to Hottovy.
Wasn't there like Mark Riggins in between one of those years, I think?
Oh, was he? Yeah, you're right. Somebody was Quaddies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's like the Marty DeMerit. He was a pitching coach for 1 year in the 90s. Or remember Oscar Acosta? Oscar got fired because
he got
so frustrated
with Big Z.
Yeah, he was so frustrated he refused to coach Carlos Zambrano.
Wow.
What does that
mean?
mean?
I have to fire you then, Oscar. Fine. Do it. Okay, we did. What? No, you didn't really. It's not easy to find Mike Quaddy's coaching staff. It just happened so fast.
God, who?
I think you're right.
The only one I remember
Mark
was
Riggins.
like Mark Riggins being the pitching coach there. Right? Was it like Rudy Jaramillo still the hitting coach left over from Lou the year before?
Didn't Rudy have 2 stints?
Maybe.
Did he? No.
I know like Lester Strode was there forever as the bullpen coach.
Yeah. So, Lester Strode. Riggins was the Cardinals minor league pitching coordinator from 1996 2007. Then he joined the Cubs in the same capacity 2008-2010, and he was the pitching coach for the Cubs in the 2011 season. Then he got whacked with Quaddy, and he went to work in the Reds minor league system.
Okay.
He got fired on July 4th, 2016. They tied a firecracker to his ass and shot him into the sky. Seemed unnecessary, but very spectacular.
They wanted to send him off ceremoniously.
So it's kind of the Cubs bullpen is pretty average. Like they're not horrible.
Well, they got rid of their weakest link pretty recently with Julian Merriweather being DFA'd. It's been pretty good.
Eli Morgan went on the 60-day IL.
It helped. Yeah, it helped that all the guys and they and Council has to find. He literally, when he uses Ryan Presley, he not only has to pick, like he doesn't just pick an inning. He picks the part of the batting order. You notice this?
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's only pitching Presley against the bottom of the order to try to get him through it.
Somebody's
all of Jed's big off-season acquisitions. It's like, okay, it's like, hey, but I got Brad Keller. Okay, you got one. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You got the guy who looks like Tom Sizemore, very disturbingly, staring at you. It's like, what's wrong with this dude? No wonder Miguel Vargas tried to fight him. Thought it was a scene from Heat. To me, the action is the juice, Miguel. He's like, what? Why is that guy yelling at me?
You know, can I say one thing about that whole Miguel Vargas, Brad Keller dust up, and that, like,
sure.
Apparently it all stemmed from a play earlier in the game in which PCA was on third, and there was a sac fly that Miguel Vargas kind of stood in the way of PCA to see, like, when the outfielder would catch it. And that's what it stemmed from, because I guess Quentin Berry, the third base coach, like, got into, like, a little bit of a shouting match with Vargas at that time. Why did we never hear about this on, like, the marquee broadcast at all? Like, isn't this, you know?
Taylor was busy talking. Boog was talking about shoes. It wasn't even Boog, was it? That was Alex Cohen. I know, because I was listening to Len do the radio instead.
Right.
Because I didn't want to listen to Alex Cohen. No, they don't. And what happened the other night?
Yeah, somebody got called out for blocking the runner on third base from seeing when the ball got caught.
Yeah, it got called in like the Mets Dodgers game on Sunday night.
Well,
like
in one of those Cubs Sox games, there were 2 fielder interference. Nico got called for it, and then somebody from the White Sox in the first 3 innings of a game.
With Dansby
and Pat
Swanson.
and Ron were like, "You never see this," and we've now seen it twice in like 2.5 innings.
Oh.
No,
Right.
but something happened the other night while Taylor was talking. Like a player looked like he might be injured or whatever. And I'm sitting there going, Tay, you might actually have to go do your job right now. You might actually have to go find out what's happening instead of sitting there yucking it up with. It's like, I hate to interrupt you, but you might have to go work now.
Right.
No, they're a lot of fun.
I will say, speaking of Cubs announcers, I listened to Tim Kirkshan's podcast that he does with his son, the one that Jim DeShays was on. It's very good. It's good stuff. JD, he's good.
He was on. I think you heard this too, Prez. He was on. I know you heard it because you heard it before me, and you told me why Boog was out.
Right, the Jason Stark
Boog and
podcast.
JD were supposed to do the Jason Stark, Doug Glanville one, and JD had to do it by himself because Boog was sick or off voicing MLB The Show live on Pablo Torre's podcast. And if you saw that, I was like, when did Boog do this? Were we stuck with Alex Cohen for a weekend because Boog was doing Pablo Torre's podcast? He in person in New York? And if you saw that, they had there's this 86-year-old guy who has been playing the show for 20 years. He buys the new version of it every year, and he plays every day. He plays that day's game as the Yankees, and he keeps score. And so he has all these scorebooks that he hand scores it, and he's 86 years old, and that's what he does. He just when his season ends. Or when his season's over, he's done. He doesn't pick up the game again until opening day the next year. And Pablo had him on and was interviewing him, and they were playing the game. The reason they had Boog there was the guy was complaining before, like in an article, about how repetitive the announcers are on MLB The Show.
And it's Boog calling it, right? Yeah.
Right. And it's like, well, honestly, if you're going to play a full game every day for the entire year and you're only going to use one team, the Yankees, you're going to hear the same, there's a lot they repeat anyway. Like the thing you hear all the time is like Chris Singleton is the color announcer. And if a guy gets like if you get like a single and a double early in the game, they're like, he's only two hits shy of the cycle. And Boog's like, really? We're going to start this with this? But you hear it. It's funny the first time you hear it, and then you hear it all the fucking time. Anyway. So I
love that Boog's annoyance with the cycle like goes into the video games too.
So they had this guy playing with Pablo in studio, but instead of having the announcers turned on, they turned them off, and Boog was in the other part of the studio guy couldn't see, and Boog was announcing it live, and then started working personal things in about the guy and about Pablo's sweater, and all of a sudden the guy's looking at Pablo what the how does he know this stuff? But the best part was Boog walks out to introduce himself. The guy has no idea who he is or why he's there.
Oh, wow.
He's like, what? He's like, I'm the guy. I'm the voice of the thing. What? Oh, you're him? Oh, yeah, you're good. It's the other guy I don't like. Like Chris Singleton. It's the other guy. You're good. I don't like the other guy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's pretty funny.
But I was watching that, and I'm like, oh, Boog, you've done 12 games this year. Cub games, your real job. But you got plenty of time to go there and do that. Get back to work.
At first, I thought it was kind of sad that this guy does it, but then again, when you're retired, what the hell?
That's basically what he said. It's he takes an hour and a half a day.
Yeah.
And he just plays it. He learned how to play the game, and he said he goes, I don't like pitching and I don't like fielding, he just sets to auto and he bats for both teams. His hits.
Yeah.
Did
he try his best for the opponent of the Yankees?
I don't know. He said his record is basically they're usually pretty similar, and he has not only injuries set to manual, and he will you can do this. He will put players on the disabled list if they're really on the disabled list for the Yankees. He won't use them. He will only use that day's actual roster.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's basically simulating the season, except he's mashing the buttons on off.
Yeah,
it was kind of interesting.
That is kind of interesting. I can dig that. All right. What was the other podcast? Anyway, go on. Sorry.
MLB Central today, which I do watch occasionally.
Yeah.
They had a couple of things. I was watching part of it because they had a segment where they were they had the hosts or the panelists all pick whether you wanted the Cubs offense or the Dodgers offense.
Yep.
And they compared them, and they're very, very close.
Are the Cubs more balanced?
Cubs average a half run more per game than the Dodgers because the Cubs score the most runs than anybody. But their other stuff is all really close. If the Cubs are first in something, the Dodgers are second. If the Cubs are fourth in something, the Dodgers are second. I mean, it's really close. And so they were. I forget which one it was. I don't think it was DeRosa. DeRosa said something really stupid later, which we're going to talk about. So we talk about with the Dodgers, you get on most nights you get 15 great at bats, right? You get Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie.
Right.
So the top end is really high.
Yeah.
With the Cubs, you get more. The Cubs have more good hitters than the Dodgers do.
Yeah, the Dodgers have
because the Dodgers lineup kind of falls off the cliff after you get past Teoscar.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of my question.
But the top of the lineup is so good. Everybody, I think. Robert Flores maybe was the only one who picked. No, Billy Ripken, I think, was the only one who picked the Cubs.
Oh, fuckface.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because
they are really close.
Yeah. And the Dodgers are supposed to have this offense that was just going to wreck baseball. And little did we know Jed was building one even better.
But the Cubs are a better base running team. But I don't suppose they took that into consideration. But otherwise,
I don't watch the Dodgers closely enough to know if they're as aggressive as a base running team as the Cubs are. But the base running is a huge part of it with the Cubs. The
Cubs have almost twice as many stolen bases as the Dodgers.
Yeah,
maybe 30 more.
I guess I think we talked about it earlier. On base percentage, the Cubs are kind of lower than you'd expect, but they get guys around when they get them on.
Yeah, the Cubs are third. We're tied for third with the Phillies in on base percentage.
Oh, really?
That's why I asked what the average was. Yeah.
I guess it's just for me because the guys I think of as the big guys in their lineup, we talked about it with Happ where he's at right now, and really other than Tucker, and I guess Carson Kelly, but the guys that are like the top guys you think of haven't really done well as far as OBP goes.
Yeah, I mean, Seiya's in the 340, 335, 340 range. Tucker's really good. Petecrow's 310, and that's a little low. But it's pretty remarkable that the Dodgers their slash lines are 263, 341, 458. The
Yeah.
Cubs are 263, 336, 455.
Yeah, and they
So, like-
specifically had the slugging percentages next to each other to show just
Yeah.
how close the two teams are.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Yeah, the Cubs are a better base running team. The Dodgers are probably a better fielding team. Maybe. I don't know why the Cubs are that low in defensive WAR. I'd have to look up some other stats, but that's a pretty interesting that they're really close.
Because
really
of the parade of idiots who played third base for
Maybe.
Yes.
a
Yeah.
month while Shaw was, and then
All,
left fielder who was
all
below
those
average.
plays not made by
Our
Gage Workman.
three-time Gold Glove, below average, below outs
Yeah.
above average left fielder.
Ah, boy.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. Like the Phillies might be better than both of them, right? But even them.
What is the old Happer on defense?
Yeah,
these
that's
days?
all right. Holy cow.
Fielding run value, he's in the 10th percentile at -3. To contrast that, I believe Pete is now, let's see if this has been updated. Da-da. Yes. Pete Crow Armstrong's fielding run value, he is the 100th percentile.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right.
9 outs above average.
His expected slugging percentage is still in the 87th percent. Holy crap. And he's only the Cubs' third best hitter.
What's Tucker? I would have penalized Tucker like for that fly ball he didn't catch in Miami.
Oh, in Miami, the first game.
Because he started to slow down. I'm like, oh, it's over. And they didn't catch it. Like, "Wait, Kyle, what
Right.
happened? That was Seiya who'd have roasted you on a spit. Kyle Tucker, 23rd percentile in fielding.
23rd
been-
percentile in fielding, really?
Minus
and
two, he's two outs below average, I guess. He's
Oh,
minus two.
wow.
Him and Happ are both dragging it down.
Interesting.
He had a few, and I don't know how it doesn't really factor in, but he had a couple of fly balls early in the season where he peeled off once to avoid Nico when he wasn't anywhere close to him and the ball dropped. And then he peeled off, he thought he was going to hit the wall, and they didn't come within like 8 feet of it. And I was like, do you need glasses on defense? You seem to be able to see the ball fine on offense.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm sure by the end of the season that'll round it
Yeah,
itself
he's
back
fine.
out. He's a very impressive thrower of the baseball.
Yes.
Yeah. Not as good as Seiya.
No, of course not. Seiya's there. Seiya should. I would play Seiya and right, and I'd probably have Tucker platoon with Turner at DH.
Do you think maybe
Justin
maybe
Turner and his 273 slugging.
maybe you could put Tucker at third base?
God, no. Please, no.
I'm kidding. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
I-
whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, I mean, yeah, not now that Shaw is back, but before
Yeah.
that, probably.
Yeah. He's no Mike Squires.
Does he throw right-handed?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he does.
left-handed right was Mike Squires,
he
a
does.
lefty.
Anthony Rizzo played third for the Cubs. For a batter.
Did he?
It was like late in the game in Cincinnati that they were like blowing them out in like 16 or 17 or 18.
Joe did all kinds of fun
Better.
stuff.
Yeah. It was probably
do
one of
miss
the
Joe.
same games where like Pedro Strop was in left field.
Let's see, where is it here? Do you remember any of this? So 2017, Anthony Rizzo, defensive positions for the Cubs. First base, second
Mhm.
base. We know he
Yes.
would play. He would
Yeah,
qualify
right, with
second
the
when the bunt defense.
Bunt
Yeah.
defense.
Third base, left field.
What?
Left field. I don't
Yes,
remember
left
him ever
field.
being in left field.
Let's see how. I'll bet you. See if it's even an inning or if it's just a batter. Maybe in third he lined up so far back that they counted him as the left fielder.
There
Is
you
he
go.
playing left? Why is he standing way out there? Oh, he's playing third. He played 1 inning of third base.
Okay.
There we go.
And he played 1 game, but he didn't get credit. It must not have made an out while he was standing there. No innings played left field.
I could have been a hitter. Huh.
Yeah, he may have been out there for a batter, and the guy didn't. I don't remember it.
Interesting. Interesting. That is kind of funny.
I don't see it. I was hoping by quickly Googling. Oh.
Well, I mean, clearly his best role was as a relief pitcher, though. That outing against the Diamondbacks and then get Freddie Freeman out against the Braves.
This Google AI is really good. Anthony Rizzo played left field for the New York Yankees, but his primary position is first baseman. While he has played other positions, including left field, his primary role is at first base, and he's primarily known for his performance as a first baseman. Incredibly insightful and correct. Oh, very good.
That's a sixth grader book report if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. How many words do I need? I can get there. I double space and I write a lot of uhs.
Like I'm a cute. Like I love AI, but it is hilarious sometimes.
Yeah, Anthony Rizzo, Yankee left field appearances, none. But good job, Google AI.
That's what's called an AI hallucination.
Do I remember
the
it right
industry.
too that like when he first got called up, there were people suggesting he should play third so they could keep Brian LaHare and him
Yes.
in the same lineup,
Yep.
right?
It did not matter
Yeah.
to them that he was left-handed
Right.
or that Brian LaHare sucked. Of course, Brian LaHare was an all-star that year.
That's true. Was an all-star.
Just saying.
Someone had to be.
No, he earned that. I mean, to be fair, he had an amazing 2.5 months, maybe 2 months, whatever it was.
He at the All-Star break, Brian LaHare,
Yeah.
286, 364, 519, 14 homers, 30 RBIs.
Yeah.
After the All-Star break,
It doesn't matter.
202, 269,
Yeah.
303, 572,
Yeah.
2 homers, 10 RBIs, and he never played in the big leagues again.
Yeah,
His final season in the big leagues, he was an All-Star. And then
I think he was done halfway through the second half too. I don't think he finished. How many plate appearances did he have in the second half?
He played in 56 games in the second half.
Yeah.
I do remember the last game of that season, he wound up getting the walk-off hit to beat the Astros.
Oh, did he really?
Because I was there, yeah.
Okay. It feels like he was just done after 56 games is 2/3 of the second half, right?
Yeah, he didn't miss any big stretches in the second half.
Hmm.
He was there. How come they didn't trade him at the deadline? Just load up.
Yeah, right?
They should have. They missed out selling high on
hell's-
Matt Purvis.
What's
They
Theo
missed
thinking?
out selling high.
Good
Yeah.
Lord. I should keep Theo.
Was
out of
that
the Hall of Fame.
2014? 2013?
Gonna keep Theo out of the Hall.
2012.
2012, all right.
Oh, man.
So that's what it
Theo's-
was. We just needed warm bodies in
Theo's first
2012.
year. Oh, those 2012 Cubs. They were really something.
Yeah. Whew.
The baseball reference page for Brian LaHare is really interesting. So he plays 45 games in 2008 for the Mariners. Doesn't play again in the big leagues until 2011, where he only plays 20 games for the Cubs. Then in 2012, he's an all-star, and then he never plays again. It's like it didn't even happen.
Jeez.
Let's see what his comps are. These ought to be good. Oh, there's some good. A lot of Cardinals on here.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that makes
No.
sense.
Juan Yepez. Remember him?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Juan Yepez. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's his number one comp.
Okay.
Most similar by age. They only did his 29 year. Termel Sledge.
Okay.
Oh.
Number two similar batter for Brian LaHare. Chris Colabello. Number three, current Cardinal, Jordan Walker.
Poor Jordan Walker. Holy cow.
Number
That's
four,
true.
Danny Gardella.
Oh.
Sounds like an extra on the Sopranos. Danny Gardella played for the New York Giants during the war. All right, good. Why not? But number 5 is a current National League All-Star.
Number 5 is a current National League All-Star, like from last year.
Made the All-Star team last year. Probably a borderline All-Star again this year.
Is it a pitcher?
National League All-Star.
It's a left field.
It's a pitcher.
Yeah, it's a
Is
pitcher.
Ian Happ?
It's Elliot Ramos.
Oh.
Really?
Number 6,
He's on the
Yadiel
comps
Hernandez. Number 7,
I guess.
Ryan Sheely.
Okay.
Dwight
What do
Smith
Ramos have in common? I can't imagine.
Jr. Not our Dwight Smith, our Dwight Smith's kid. Dwight Smith Jr. Clint Robinson. Who the hell is Clint Robinson? He played for.
Ramos is pretty good. How can he have anything in common with Elliot Ramos?
I don't know.
He's not.
You know what it is? Because I think I realized this on Baseball Reference when you look at the similar players, is that when you see that, it's assuming that like those guys like their careers are complete, basically. It's like what they've done to their point in their careers.
That makes even less sense. Elliot Ramos, that doesn't make any sense with the Elliot Ramos thing, because Elliot Ramos's career batting line is better than Brian LaHare's. I guess I'm only thinking about his second half in 2012. I mean, Elliot Ramos has like a .448 slugging percentage, and that's just driven down by his first, 80 at bats, 80 plate appearances.
Yep.
Like he's not bad.
He had a very LaHare-like season last year, totals. And he's only played 52 games so far this year.
Yeah.
But he's probably going to surpass those numbers, I would guess, from last year.
Right.
Well, he's only driven in 27 runs because I don't know why. The Giants don't score a lot of runs. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. Thought I heard some stat about Elliot Ramos that like since Barry Bonds retired, that like
You heard that
the
stat from
Giants
me.
have had Okay, yes, that sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that, like they've had a different left fielder on opening day every year.
Until
Right.
Oh yeah, even last year Elliot Ramos probably
right.
wasn't.
So it would
the
be
left
next.
fielder.
Their hope is that Elliot Ramos breaks it next year. That he's
Yeah.
finally, because when he came, he didn't make the team out of spring training, and then he played center because Jung-Hoo Lee ran into the
interesting.
wall.
Oh, that's right.
Broke
Yeah, yeah.
himself. And so Elliot played out of position. He played center last year. And now he's in left,
Right.
where he should be. So
All
I'm
right.
hoping that'll actually. It's crazy that. Because that was what every year since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
They have
Well,
a different left fielder.
Bonds
was his
last
last
year was 07, I think.
Oh, 07. Okay, so every year since
Yeah.
2007, a different Giant has started opening day in left field.
That's nothing like the 1987 Sports Illustrated cover with Corey Snyder and
Oh, you know the other guy,
Joe Carter.
Joe Carter.
Yeah, we're on the Sports Illustrated cover because the American League East had a different winner every year for the previous 6 years, and it was the Indians' turn.
So it was their turn.
Yeah,
Did they win it that year?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
Because Cleveland, I want to say, had like a longer playoff drought than the Cubs even did from like, the 45 to 84 one.
yeah,
So
because they went from
like
48.
54.
No,
Oh,
they
they
went.
went. That's right.
The Indians went
95.
90. The Rick Vaughn, Willie Mays Hayes. I
Yes.
saw the documentary. I watch that documentary every
it's
year
a documentary.
with Lou Brown and
Yeah,
Jake Taylor.
They found that pitcher just out of nowhere playing in the California Penal League.
Yeah.
It was an incredible piece of scouting.
Eddie
by,
Harris putting Vagisil on his chest. Vagisil. Ain't got an arm like yours. Someday you will too.
Who was that? Was that the John Hart Indians? Was that who or was that who was the other one? Scherholtz, wasn't he? Did he come up through?
90 was probably. No, Hank Peters was the GM. in 90.
Peters. Right.
Was 90 the year? Was that the year Corey Snyder and? That'd be funny.
No,
if that
it was
the
87.
year.
87.
Oh, it was
the-
87.
Yeah.
How did? Let's see. Let's look at the 87 Indians.
Yeah.
I'll bet they were really good, and they just missed. I know. In fact, I know they finished last because that was like
Yeah.
they were close. 61 and 101.
Corey Snyder never kind of panned out,
Just
huh?
missed.
Poor guy.
No.
I think my few I must have started the year after. Maybe it was the year that it started. That Ken Griffey Jr. was younger than every American League Rookie of the Year for like 7 years in a row.
Yeah, and it was part of that was one of my buddies at NIU was his favorite like trivia fact.
Yeah.
And it was because of like Bob Hamlin.
Yeah.
And there were like two really old rookies of the year, like Marty Cordova and Bob Hamlin helped push that up. But yeah, and Junior didn't win. Didn't win Rookie of the Year.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was like for an obscene amount of time. It was. I mean, it didn't matter how old they were, right? Just the fact they were older.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Than Junior.
Yeah, Junior was 19 when he broke in. So,
right.
I mean, he had, and then it was just, but it was exacerbated by
a
couple of old dudes winning. It just kept it going.
Like towards the end, yeah. That's awesome. Bob Hamlin.
Junior finished third in Rookie of the Year balloting his rookie year. Do you know who finished ahead of him?
88, 89?
It was 89.
89. Who finished ahead of Junior?
That was Frank Thomas didn't win Rookie of the Year, did he?
The guy who won it had a player in the opposite league with his same name, but they didn't spell the first name the same. There were two of them for a long time.
Lastings Millage?
No.
Yeah, and who's the other Millage?
Lastings Millage.
Was it that Marlins Alex Gonzalez from 03? I don't know.
No, those guys spelled it the same.
Yeah.
Greg Olson.
From the Orioles.
This is the Orioles pitcher.
The Orioles, yeah.
He had, you had to give it to him. 27 saves.
Still.
I mean, Junior, though, really, he was 19.
Yeah.
He only played 127 games, 264, 329, 420, 16 homers, 61 RBIs. But the guy who finished second eventually pitched for the Cubs and the White Sox, right?
Oh, Danny Jackson? No, it can't be.
Pitched for everybody. Yeah, Cubs and the White Sox. Best known as a starter for the Royals and a closer for the Red Sox.
Starter for the Royals.
Stephen King wrote a book with his name
Flash
in the
Gordon?
title. Yeah, Tom Flash Gordon.
Oh. What was the Stephen King book?
The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
Yep.
Oh.
I was going to look quick. See if I have a feeling Flash deserved it more. Great. Let's see.
Was he? Oh no, it was Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson was the one who broke Ryan Sandberg's finger in spring training, right?
Yeah. Flash 17-9, 3.64 ERA. Pitched in 49 games, made 16 starts. We did everything for those Royals. The others who round out the American League Rookie of the Year voting, these are some dudes. Two are actual famous. Craig Worthington from the Orioles. Was that the year the Orioles lost all those games in a row? Is that why? Because they were playing all rookies.
Oh, with Frank Robinson managing.
Number 5, Jim Abbott, and number 6, Kevin Brown of the Rangers.
Oh, yeah, all right.
And everybody remembers who finished first and second in the National League.
True.
Yeah.
In 1989.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Jerome Walton and Dwight Smith. And then Greg Jeffries finished third.
Okay.
And Greg Jeffries got Rookie of the Year votes the year before.
That's right.
Because he came up late in the 88 when the Mets went to the playoffs. That was like the end of that. The end of that, the great team that only won one World Series. What's that like?
Yeah,
so
he was amazing.
He came up for the last 29 games of the season. He hit 321, 364, 596. He finished 6th in Rookie of the Year voting, and then was eligible again the next year.
Yep. I think that happened with. I think that happened with like Gary Sanchez. I think like the first 2 years he was in the big leagues for the Yankees.
Is that right? Like he came up late. Because it only takes Wait, it's 50 innings. That's 100 some plate appearances, right? 140 maybe to use up rookie eligibility.
No, never mind. He only got rookie of the year. He was rookie of the year runner up in 2016.
Okay.
He only played in 53 games. What does it take? Like 45 games to surpass rookie eligibility?
Well, I think it's some of that, but it also goes. It's either that or plate appearances.
Okay. Because the next year, was those were the two best years of his career. That year he hit 33 homers, 90 RBI, 122 games, 4 Baseball Reference wins above replacement. He finished 22nd in MVP voting and won the Silver Slugger at catcher. So, thought he had it, but
I'm starting to go down a sister sludge rabbit hole here in my Google. I might listen to them tonight.
Well, we had Turmel Sledge and Lastings Millage both mentioned.
Yeah. That's what made me think of Lastings Millage, honestly.
Was Turmel.
Yeah, Turmel Sludge.
With 2 R's?
Yep. Did he have 2 R's?
I don't know how many.
There's no R's in Sledge.
Sledge. They're both silent in Sledge.
I did listen to the Dollops Pete Rose podcast also. That could have been 90 minutes long.
Oh, that I
yeah,
saw
they go out. They get on these wild. It should have been 2 parts, not 3.
Well, it was like all the inside jokes. It was just ridiculous.
But they do that. They do that with everything. So.
Yeah, but it was interesting. That was.
Yeah, there was some genuine. I thought I knew most of the stuff. There was some stuff that I did not know. Yeah.
But there were plenty of times when I was like one of the guys is I don't know who the guys are, but one of them is clearly a baseball fan, but still
Dave Anthony, the one who thinks there's 182 games in a baseball season. He said it like 4 times. He's like, how big a fan are you?
Yeah, they also
182 games.
He also kept messing up by talking about spring training '77 when he meant '76, the year after the Reds won the first title. There were a couple things like that I'm like, I was on an airplane listening. It was kind of interesting. Like, I didn't know the. I'd forgotten that literally Bart Giamatti passed away like the day after announcing.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that. That was an interesting tidbit. A lot of the audacity of Pete Rose was something.
Yeah, he clearly
I never knew the story about the trainer friend of his that had all the steroid connections.
Yeah, all of them. The cocaine and the steroids out of that Gold's Gym.
Yeah,
was it Gold's Gym? I didn't want to.
I did enjoy the part though where they're like when that Gold's Gym got busted.
Yeah.
And Pete was like, "I've never been to that Gold's Gym. I don't know anything about it." It was literally called the Pete Rose Gold Gym. They printed T-shirts with his picture on it and gave them to.
Jeez,
I never heard of that before ever. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure you're not suing everybody in town who uses your name and anything, so you've never heard of it, and you're not. They didn't name it that because you were always fucking there.
Yeah. Oh man, that was hilarious. That was good stuff.
So the thing that DeRosa said today that it took a while, but I see it is starting to bubble up. He was very impressed by the Ronald Acuna's return to the break.
His first pitch was a home run,
and they were showing one of the things I did enjoy. They showed Ronald is wearing a knee brace on the outside of his outside of his pants.
Oh, that's interesting.
Just decided, screw it, I'll just wear it on the outside. But part of the reason he is it matches his shin guard and his elbow guard, and it's not he likes to wear the ones that are bright yellow, but he had some that were like on Sunday.
Okay.
That are they look like Trapper Keepers from 1988. It's like it looks like the way they decorated not the Peach Pit. What was the Saved by the Bell? What was where'd they hang out at?
What was the Peach?
Peach Pit was a 90210.
Oh, okay.
That's gonna bother me now. I'm gonna have to.
Because there's a band called Peach Pit.
the max.
Okay.
But anyway, so they're talking about that, and DeRosa just says, and clearly nobody else was ready for this. He goes, "I think he's the most talented player in Braves history." And
Say that.
it's like, yeah, he's really talented, but they had Hank Aaron.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah,
And
Hank Aaron,
Eddie Matthews.
Yeah,
a lot of great pitchers.
They did, and they took. They were talking about. Hank Aaron, yeah, I guess. More physically talented, I guess. Blah blah blah. Shipper, Andrew, whatever. But it's like, okay, I think it's the Ernie Banks bias for us, which is the only footage that you ever see of Hank is old fat Hank.
Yeah.
Hank was a second baseman when he first broke in. Hank stole a shitload of bases. Hank was Ronald Acuna.
True.
Right before,
long before, and he did it for 25 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to say that Ronald Acuna is the most talented Brave when Hank Aaron played there. Hank is like one of the 3 best players in the history of baseball.
Probably. Yeah.
It's Babe, him, and Willie, probably.
Yeah. It is. I will say it's remarkable to think about. Like when I was a kid, and you saw Hank Aaron was in 22 All-Star games, and Willie Mays was in 22. I didn't fully appreciate how amazing it is to play for that long. Never mind to make that many. I think Brooks Robinson was up there also. He played for 23, 24 years.
Pete Rose is up there too.
Yeah, but he hung on at the end to.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, granted, they all kind of hung on at the end when you play into your 40s. I guess you kind of do, but it's still being good enough. And I know not all of them were, but it's a remarkable thing. And it's very I just don't think I fully appreciated how incredible that is.
Yeah, I guess Hank didn't play. I would say I wasn't around. He didn't play a lot of second base. He mostly played right field, but he did play some infield. But he he didn't steal 78 bases, and he didn't stop and pull the bag out of the ground and hold it above his head. But he didn't steal bases until he was 26.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden 16, 21, 15, 31, 22, 24. It's almost like that was like Willie Mays famously said, if I'd have known that 40-40 was going to be a big deal, I'd have done it 8 times.
Yeah.
It's like we just stopped. I don't need to steal base here. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I want to say for the longest time, and maybe Ronald might have passed him up in recent years, but I think Aaron was still the all-time Braves stolen base leader, which I wouldn't have guessed that he would have been a big stolen base guy until
was it Otis Nixon?
Well, no, Otis Nixon would overlap in this too. I think he's the Atlanta Braves all-time stolen base leader. There may be someone in the Milwaukee or Boston days that hasn't passed out.
Well, Hank stole 240. He is. What year?
He's saying Rich Gantner. Oh wait, that was the Brewers.
I hate when those things aren't updated.
Jim Gantner?
Wasn't that? Yeah, Gantner.
He's that guy who played for the Brewers in the 80s.
In the early 80s.
That was,
he was in the 82 World Series.
They all loved him up there because he's from Milwaukee.
Is that right? That figures.
Yeah.
Well, Hank Aaron has more stolen bases than Ronald Acuna Jr.
Really? Okay.
Right.
He's 240. Acuna has 196. The all-time leader is Herman Long. Of course, you remember Herman. Herman is from. He's from Chicago. He's buried in Concordia Cemetery in Forest Park. He died on September 16th, 1909, in Denver. Probably had tuberculosis and had to go out west. So he stole all of his Braves bases in Boston. He's number one.
Right,
400. 400. Wait a minute, where did he go? I lost.
It's a lot of stolen bases.
434.
It's a lot. 434. He played for other teams, so when I was looking at this, I was screwing.
Oh, I got
you. Billy Hamilton is third for the Braves. He only played there for a year, and he still. No, wait, that's not that Billy Hamilton.
I was going to say, I don't think it's that Billy Hamilton.
Acuna just passed Rabbit Moranville.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That was
former Cub manager from 1914, I believe.
Creepy looking little guy.
Isn't he? He's one of the Hall of Famers that doesn't really deserve to be in, right?
Yeah, he's
I don't
one of
know,
those
look at
guys
this-
with like
his-
a super low
Nellie
WAR.
Cox, Harold Baines.
His clear
Hey,
slash line.
He does clear Harold Baines. He's at 43.9 WAR.
No, yeah.
Baines is at, what,
Harold Baines is probably the
38.8?
worst one. Yeah.
Rabbit's career slash line 258, 318, 340.
Yeah.
82 OPS plus.
And OPS Plus does a pretty good job of being
Yeah, it's like the number you can.
Yeah.
That's why we use it. Why Huey and I use it.
Yeah.
We have to go way back
Right.
to the.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. Like WRC Plus is hard to explain because that takes a lot of other factors into consideration. But OPS Plus is nice and clean and easy. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the all-time WAR position players for the Braves: Hank Aaron,
Uh-huh.
Eddie Matthews, Chipper,
Yeah.
Chipper and Andrew, Dale Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Freeman,
Sure.
Fred Tenney, Wally Berger, Tommy Holmes, Herman Long. So Ronald is probably. He's
Well, he
not
did say-
one. He's
He did say
7?
talented, and Acuna's only, 24, 25 years old still?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, but that's also weird. That's a weird thing to say.
he just seemed to get carried away. He's 27.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a four-time All-Star. He's an MVP. He's a great player. He was rookie of the. Was he rookie of the year? Yeah, he was rookie of the year. He's really good. He's one of the Braves' best players all time. But when it's just funny when Hank Aaron is in your franchise to just
Yeah.
immediately go, wow, without a question, this guy's the most talented guy ever. I don't know.
No. Don't think so.
What would DeRosa know about the Braves?
Yeah, right. He's the rare case of the guy that like leaves the Braves and becomes better.
They were talking about the pitchers the pitchers for sure never do that.
Right.
They all come to the Cubs. They all come to the Cubs and go
What do
right
you got
back.
against Chili
Yeah.
Nation?
Ruben Quevedo and
Yeah.
which Perez? We didn't have Yorkis, did we? Which Perez did the Cubs have?
Yorkis, right?
Was it Yorkis?
Yeah.
Yorkis.
Braves?
I think it was Yorkis. Yorkis. It's not even a name, but that's fine. Yeah, Yorkis was a Cub. We got him from the Braves, I think. That could be a whole remember this crap is all the pitchers that the Cubs got from. Oh,
Braves.
this was a blockbuster.
Okay.
September 29th, 1991.
Okay.
Why are you trading on September 29th? There's nothing else to do. It's the last day of the season. Should we trade some guys? Let's do it. Call
Yeah,
Schuerholtz. See what he wants
Yeah,
to load up for the World Series. Well, these guys aren't going to be able to play. Well, they're not good enough to play anyway. It was
Neither the Cubs or the Braves were very good, right?
91. Isn't that the what year? When 92 the Braves went to World Series?
After they got
Yes.
Mets, right?
Yeah, because 93 was the Phillies when the Blue Jays walked him off.
The Blue
Anyway,
Jays won in '92 also, right?
This was the trade: Yorkis Perez and Turk Wendell to the Cubs for Damon Berryhill and Mike Bilecki.
One of those
Oh,
guys
yeah.
was good.
Which one?
Turk Wendell.
Oh. All right.
And then wait a minute, September.
September 29th. That is hilarious.
I
Like,
don't understand this because he was
don't those guys
released.
have to clear waivers? How did that, the waivers not come into play because you can't
They would have
be on
already.
the-
September 20. I see. This is people are like, God, why isn't this podcast over yet? It's because we have to figure this out. Why are you making a trade on September 29th?
Right.
Yeah, it's the
None of those
point.
guys can play. Cubs.
Well, it had to be. Was that like the off season had just started? Like, what's
So I was
the?
wondering, like, is it actually was the season
That's a
actually
good point.
over?
Yeah.
Oh, you know who's going to answer this for us? let's go to Bleed Cubby Blue and let's see what Al says.
Oh no.
Because he wrote about it. These are all the trades. God, was this during the pandemic? Why was he doing this? Nope. November in 2023. He picking years and going through all of their trades.
Oh God.
All right. This was Jim Fry, was the general manager of the Cubs. Fry does it again, making a trade with Atlanta with just a few days left in the season. Why this was done is beyond me. Well, if Alvin doesn't know, how are we supposed to know?
Right. Come on, Al, you're supposed to know the ins and outs of this.
So, okay, he does inadvertently answer a question, though, because I couldn't figure this out, because Yorkis, they make the trade on September 29th, and Yorkis gets released on December 11th. And, like, what was the purpose of that? Well, Yorkis pitched in 3 games before the end of the season, so clearly he made quite the impression.
Yeah.
Get rid of that piece of shit. Actually, might have been too good. He pitched in 3 games, 4 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, struck out 3 and walked 2. I mean, come on.
I mean, the 92 Cubs sure as hell couldn't have used them.
No. Yorkis pitched until 2002.
Okay.
He was a lefty, right? Yeah, I think
I still wonder why that trade was made.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know
Even
why.
Damon Berryhill. Why was that trade made? On September 29th. 94. I don't know. Were the Braves good? Did the Braves make the playoffs in 91? I don't think that's true.
Well, that would have been still when they were in the NL West. Yeah, they did. 94 and 68. They beat the Dodgers out by a game.
Yeah, it's when they lost. That was the John Smoltz.
Oh, yes.
That's right. That's right.
When it went to Game 7 and Dan Gladden.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know. Maybe they won. What did they win Let's look. All right, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna retroactively figure this out. What did they win the division by? Where are the standings?
Just 1 game.
Okay, so I wonder if they had an injured. Well, they would have used those guys to win at the end. So maybe they needed a catcher.
Use those guys. Yeah.
And then Bilecki, and they weren't going to be playoff eligible, but if it gets you into the playoffs, it's like the great Orlando Merced, his 3-run homer for the Cubs. He couldn't be on the playoff roster, but they wouldn't have got there without him. They finished the season against Houston. They made the trade. When was it? I say the 29th?
Yeah.
29th. End of the season was October 6th.
Yeah. They were up by a game. It was a tight race.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that all of September. Tied,
yeah.
up a half game, game, down a half game. Well, that's why they did it. They needed bodies.
They had 3 guys finished in top 12 in MVP.
Was that like Terry Pendleton's MVP year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. What did Damon do for him to get a big hit? Damon Berryhill.
One plate appearance.
Well, that was worth it. They needed a bullpen catcher, so they got him. How about the Style Master? What did Mike Bilecki do? He pitched in 2 games, inning and 2/3, didn't allow a run, gave up 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 3.
That's a weird trade.
Good for Mike.
129.
You can't even do those anymore.
No.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why they got rid of the waiver trades.
Are you kidding? If you can make a trade like this on September 29th, no wonder you get rid of it. That's such a competitive advantage.
Well, that's true. That probably ruined it.
Yeah.
It's so weird. They'll let you do waiver claims, but not waiver trades.
Yeah.
Like remember a couple years ago when the Cubs were going into Cincinnati in like early September and they had just picked up like Hunter Renfroe and I don't know some other guy who always
the Angels found the loophole. They waived anybody they could to try to get under the luxury. They basically added up everybody's salary that they were going to waive that they owed, and they were trying to get under the luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That was the year they didn't trade Shohei at the deadline.
Yeah, but there was
within like 2 weeks, they're like, "Oh fuck, we're screwed." Well, let's just get rid of everybody then.
Well, because there was some hope that the Cubs would pick up somebody.
Well, that's what we found out, that the stupid waiver thing doesn't even work the way it works in like a fantasy league.
Yeah.
if you got your waiver claim, you didn't go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
And so I forget who it was. Yeah, somebody like the Reds, right?
Yeah.
Reds got like 3 guys because in a normal thing, you would have got the first guy you ranked and then you'd go down to the bottom. It didn't work that way. They just kept getting the guys.
Right.
If they fell to them, they kept them. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was bullshit.
I don't know if to change that or not. Probably not. No. All right.
Well, Seiya Suzuki is awesome and Pete Rose sucks. That's the bottom line of this podcast.
Right. Well, I agree with
Here.
both. So you really showed me.
Yeah.
Called me
In
out on
your
something I
face.
ended up agreeing with. So good job.
Well, to be fair, I agreed with you about the other thing. What was the other thing? What was the
Pete
first
Rose.
thing? No. First bone that I picked with you. It was so long ago.
Oh, it was batting Busch and
that's
Pete.
right. That's right. Yes.
And I agree with it, but I believe I proposed it as counsel doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Which he clearly doesn't. But I kind of agree with Craig. So on most things. I think Craig's an okay guy.
And you only get a fraction of what he gets paid, and he still listens to your advice.
Yeah.
You ought to send him an invoice.
He could at least send me a tip.
Yeah.
Something. A little something for the effort.
Right.
I'll stand there with my Tom Sizemore's in for the Cubs.
Nice.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much, Awesome.